Imagine a time before cities, before houses, before roads and written laws. The world was wide, open, and unforgiving. Nature controlled everything. The sun decided when the day began. Darkness decided when fear arrived. Every morning meant survival had been achieved once more, and every night carried the risk that it might not come again. This was the world of prehistoric humans. Early humans lived close to nature, not by choice, but because there was no other way. Forests, mountains, rivers, and endless plains were their home. Wild animals roamed freely. Hunger followed them constantly. A small injury could turn deadly. There were no doctors, no shelters, no guarantees. In such a world, being alone was dangerous. One person could be attacked, starve, or freeze. Survival depended on staying together. Humans lived in small groups, often made up of extended families and close companions. These groups moved with the seasons, following animals, water, and plants. They shared food, protected one another, and faced danger as a unit. Fire was guarded carefully. Tools were shared. Children were watched by many eyes. Cooperation was not kindness, it was survival. But within these groups, something deeper began to form. Certain individuals stayed closer to one another. They walked side by side during long journeys. They slept near the same fire. They noticed each other's absence. These connections were not created by rules or traditions. They happened naturally, shaped by trust, habit, and shared experience. When a woman became pregnant, life became harder. Her body changed, movement slowed, strength decreased. Escaping danger became more difficult. She could not hunt as before. She needed food, protection, and support. A man who stayed close, who hunted not only for himself but for her, who watched for predators and danger, increased her chances of survival. Staying together was no longer temporary. It became necessary. When the child was born, everything changed again. Human babies are among the most helpless beings on Earth. They cannot walk, talk, or protect themselves. They require constant care for many years. A mother alone could not provide everything. A father alone could not protect and teach a child. Survival required cooperation. When both parents stayed, children lived longer, learned faster, and grew stronger. Nighttime was the most dangerous part of the day. Darkness hid predators. Strange sounds echoed through the land. Fear grew stronger when the sun disappeared. Fire became the center of life. Around the fire, people gathered for warmth and safety. Flames kept animals away. Light allowed rest. Around those fires, bodies stayed close. Familiar faces brought comfort. Voices became reassuring. Trust deepened with every shared night. Those who sat together again and again formed emotional bonds. They shared food, warmth, fear, and hope. They protected each other while sleeping. They watched over each other's children. Slowly, without ceremony or words, they became couples, not because of romance, but because life demanded it. There were no weddings, no vows, no celebrations. Marriage in prehistoric times was silent and practical. It meant staying together. It meant sharing food and responsibility. It meant raising children and facing danger side by side. Commitment was shown through action, not promises. If someone abandoned their partner or their children, the group noticed. Trust was broken. Cooperation faded. Survival became harder. Loyalty mattered because everyone depended on one another. Social pressure kept relationships stable long before laws existed. Love in this world was not poetry, it was not fantasy, it was useful, it was powerful. Couples who stayed together lived longer. Their children survived at higher rates.
Their groups became stronger and more organized. Over thousands of years, evolution rewarded emotional bonding. The human brain adapted. Feelings like attachment, care, jealousy, and loyalty became part of human nature. Jealousy was not meaningless. It protected bonds. It discouraged abandonment. Loyalty ensured stability. Betrayal caused conflict because it threatened survival. These emotions shaped behavior long before humans understood them. As generations passed, stable couples formed families. Families created stronger groups. Tribes developed shared traditions, hunting strategies, and territories. Slowly, humans began to settle. Temporary shelters became permanent homes. Shared survival turned into shared identity. With stability came memory. Stories were passed down, knowledge was shared, skills improved. Love became more than survival. It became emotional connection. Caring for one another created meaning in a harsh world. Over time, humans began to recognize these bonds. Traditions formed. Rituals slowly appeared. Marriage gained symbols, words, and ceremonies. But the foundation never changed. At its core, marriage was still about staying together to survive and protect the future. Every modern relationship traces its roots back to those early humans. Every family structure, every partnership, every promise carries echoes of a time when love meant life itself. Love did not begin in cities or palaces. It did not begin with religion or law. It began in the wild, under open skies, beside flickering firelight. It was shaped by fear, necessity, and hope. And maybe that is why love still feels ancient, why it feels deeper than logic. Because somewhere inside us, our minds remember what it once meant to choose one person in a dangerous world and say, without words, "We will face this life together."